Hello, this is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. But if you could really hit that like button for me, I would appreciate it. It helps the channel out a lot in terms of my videos being viewed. Alright, so today's video, we'll just do a quick little recap here. As we talked about yesterday, some of the information I think is a little different right now. It looks like he dated his, I think in the comment section somebody mentioned that he dated his application for March 31st. So literally just within a week after purchasing the K-bar knife, he's applying for the internship at the Pullman Police Department. And then on April 6th, Gary Jenkins from the Pullman Police Department replied to Kohberger's application. And then on April 12th is when they actually had the interview, and then they, decided not to use Bryan Kohberger. But it's crazy how, close that is to when he bought the K-bar knife. So he already knew that what he was going to be using that for, and he was going to try to use the Pullman Police Department as cover. All right, and then we went through various different things now. The portion I also wanted to go review again really quick again is I changed some of the timing here because some of this is estimated time, all right? So we know that Kaylee and Madison were dropped off at 1122 King Road at around 1:56. And then at 2 o'clock, Bethany, Dylan, and Madison were all up in Kaylee's room. And then at 2:10:29, literally a precise time frame there, they're in Kaylee's room and Dylan Mortensen sends a text message to the Uber driver to see if he's available. And then the Uber driver responded at 2:13 because, the thing is Dylan and Bethany probably wanted to go to the grub truck maybe to get some food because they just saw the food that Kaylee and Madison were eating and wanted to go, but they decided not to do that. And then I altered this a little bit because right after that, Maddie, Bethany, Dylan go downstairs to take Murphy out because Kaylee is getting ready for bed, and I'm putting that around like 2:18 or so. And then at 2:20, Madison and Bethany take Murphy outside, and Dylan goes to bed. And then right around 2:22, Bethany is cold, so goes inside. And then probably around 2:26, Kaylee begins calling her boyfriend Jack while lying in her bed, probably. I mean, she started getting ready for bed, let's say, right around 2:18. And she's laying in her bed at like 2:26. That's why the bed looks used, like slept in. And then at 2:30, Bethany is in bed watching Baby Daddy. Remember, she went to her room. So I'm just assuming she's in bed watching Baby Daddy. And then at 2:34, Madison asks Bethany through the door if she has seen Murphy. And then at 2:36, Madison goes to her room and gets ready for bed as well. Now, we don't know if she found Murphy or not. Perhaps she left the slider open for Murphy to come in. Either way, Kohberger was going to be able to get into that house because the slider was broken. Now, is he the one that was able to jimmy it and break it when he came in? Or was the slider already open and it was broken previously because the police had to use chairs to keep the door locked? All right, then at... again, at 2:40, Madison gets into bed. And then at 2:42, Kohberger is leaving his residence. And then 2:43, Kaylee goes to Madison's room to have her call Jack. And, right around 2:44, Kaylee calls Jack for the 6th time. And then 2:44, Madison begins calling Jack. And then at that same exact time frame, 2:44, Kohberger's driving his Elantra, and it's on Stadium Way and Southeast Nevada Street. And then at 2:47, and that's actually a camera shot, and then at 2:47, Kohberger's phone is pinging in Southeast Pullman, Washington, which is consistent with this sighting at Southeast Nevada Street. That's in Southeast Pullman, Washington. Then at 2:52, Madison calls Jack for the 3rd time, and then at 2:52, Kaylee calls Jack for the final time, and then at 2:53, Madison calls Bethany. What that call was about, we don't know, but maybe it was going to be about, I don't think Bethany answered, and it was maybe going to ask, have you seen Murphy still, or to let her know that they found Murphy. Don't know. And at that very same time, Kohberger's white Elantra is seen on camera, again near Nevada Street, heading southeast. And then at 2:54, the CAS data shows his phone is turned off. And then yesterday, the video concluded with the vehicle entering into the, quote, complex, as I call it, at 3:30 and 22 seconds. And it's heading southbound on King Road, turning east onto Queen. And let's show that part again. And here comes the vehicle. And here it is at 3:30 and 28 seconds. And that entered the camera at 3:30 and 22 seconds, and it drove by. And then look at this, at 3:30:55, the vehicle travels behind 500 Queen Road and around the back of the building. So let's show that really quick. And here it is, 3:30:57. There's 55 right when the light showed up. And then it drives around right here. See that? There it goes. Drives around the back. Okay, we've got that one. And then at 3:31 and 18 seconds, headlights briefly shine on the upper exterior of 1127 King Road. All right, so this building in red is 1122 King Road. This is the building with the camera on it at 1112 King Road, and the camera's filming this direction like this. All right? And what we're referring to in the document right now is 1127, which is right here. Headlights are seen on the upper exterior of this building. And here is that right now. So I'm going to scrub it forward, and you'll see right there. And the timing that they gave was 3:31 and 18 seconds. So we're at 3:31:12. Watch right up here. See that? There's the vehicle coming around the back of 500 Queen Road. And, you know, to explain that, and it'll be the same on every pass, so we don't have to keep doing this. The vehicle drove around, we just saw, drove around like this, picked up on that camera, coming back around, and as the headlights are coming around this corner here, and the headlights hit the top of this building right here as it's turning around this corner. And on the first pass, it actually sits there for over a minute. And you can see right here at 3:31:18, the headlights briefly shine exterior of 1127. Then at 3:31:01, it's heading westbound on Queen Road, and it turns north onto King Road. So if you can look at that, there's actually a minute 43 before it shows back up on camera again. And that means it likely parked back behind 1122 King Road for well over a minute. Well over a minute. And so let's go forward at 3:33:01. That's what we're looking for next. Here we go. And let's get so we can see the time here, 3:33:01. And it's right there. So let's just play it from 3:33:32. Here comes, and 01. There you see the car, and then around, and it leaves the area. And it's going really slow at this point. And then at 3:33:36, the headlights can be seen southbound on Walenta Drive behind 1119 King Road. So if we go back to here, look at the time there, and move it forward, he's driving really slow. And right around this time frame of 3:33:30, we'll play it, and then you'll see the vehicle show up right here. See that? There it is. And then you can pick it up a little bit even as it comes around right over there. See that? And then there's actually a person leaving this house that has nothing to do with anything associated with the case whatsoever. Although if you're somebody who believes Kohberger didn't do it, affectionately known as pro-burgers, you'll pretend that that person is a maniac, a knife-wielding maniac ready to kill, and they aren't. They're just somebody leaving a house at 3:33:51. Kohberger's vehicle just left back on Walenta Drive back there. And we know it's his vehicle because Kohberger admitted to it being his vehicle. Then at 3:35:13, the vehicle is spotted at Ridge Road, turning onto Paradise Drive. So if we go to Google Earth, and that means the vehicle drove all the way around like this and is spotted right here. Now, we don't have this footage yet, but it is ordered out there. It's right in this area. And that's at 3:35:14. The vehicle's headed westbound on Paradise Drive. And then at 3:38:12, headlights can be seen northbound on Walenta Drive behind 1119 King Road. So there's a good 3 minutes of time between 3:35:14 and 3:38:12, and we don't know where the Elantra was because it headed westbound on Paradise Drive, and from there it only takes less than a minute and a half to get over here. So we don't know. We know that the vehicle drove like this, down, and then it turned this direction. And interestingly, we don't know where it went, but this is where it could have, for like a minute or so, driven over here and looked over at the police station, and then drove back this direction, came up, and made its way back into the complex. And so we'll see the vehicle right here, and 1119 King Road is right there, right? So you can see there's a little gap in there, and that's where the vehicle is spotted on this camera. All right, so this is 1119. Let me turn them on slowly so you can see. This is 1127. This is 1119. And then 1112 King Road is right there. And the house the homicide took place in is right there. Okay, the house is not seen on this surveillance camera. So we're right here at 3:38:12. The headlights are seen northbound on Walenta Drive. So let's go to that. That's 3:38:12. That's right, coming up right here. And you'll probably see it right there first. Yeah, you see it there, but it's right here is what they're marking. So there it is, and it's coming into the complex now. And the next statement is at 3:38:34. It's heading southbound on King Road and then turning east onto Queen Road. And, if you look at a map from above, that's southbound. This is north-south oriented, so southbound and then eastbound, that's what they're referring to, and you'll see it coming in right here. So the vehicle is going to go like this and then drive by the camera. Right, so it does this motion quite a bit, like this route, especially when it comes into here. It always does the same thing until pass number 4. And like I said, at 3:38:34, so let's check the surveillance footage. And it's coming up right now. 3:38:29, and here it comes at 3:38:34. Shows up on there, turns left, and goes back around 500 Queen Road. So there it is, and if we go to the timeline here, at 3:39:06, it travels behind 500 Queen Road. And that is going to be right back here. And you'll see it here in just a second, and we'll move to the next one. There it is, 3:38:59, and then here it comes. Right back here. And it's going really slow this time. Alright, and then at 3:39:35, the headlights shine briefly on the upper exterior of 1127. Now, if you look at this time, the car only parks for maybe 30 seconds or so. You see on pass number 1, it was 1:43. And then on pass number 2, it's only 49 seconds from when the headlights hit the top of 1127 until it's seen again driving by 1112 King Road. So it's only 49 seconds. So it probably only parked for 35 seconds or so on that pass. All right, so we're looking for 3:39:35 on the upper exterior of 1127, which is right up there. So look at the time, 3:38:46. We're at 3:39:31, and I'll zoom right in here so you can see it. So there's the vehicle's headlights turning right back behind 500 Queen Road and also 1122 King Road as it's turning. All right. Let's go back to the timeline. At 3:40 and 24 seconds, it's heading westbound on Queen Road and turns north on the King. So it's leaving at 3:40 and 24 seconds. And then you can see the headlights back behind there at 3:41:01 behind 1119 King Road. So 3:40:24 and 3:41:01. And here we go. And here comes the vehicle at 3:40:24. It's leaving now after parking for 35 seconds back behind 1122 King Road and generally behind 500 Queen Road back there. And just so again, so that you were visually always seeing what we're looking at here, the vehicle drove around like this, came around, and then right here the headlights hit the top of this building, and then it parked for 35 seconds or so. Then it drove out, and we're seeing it right like this, coming around, turning, and then we'll see it back here right between 1119 and 1127 right there. But even in the documents it mentions, like, you can see a little bit of light change right there. I'm not putting that in there because it's so subtle. You have to kind of go through it quick, sliding the slider so you can see the change. It's pretty difficult without that. But right back here, you'll see the vehicle driving. I think we got to go back a little bit. Right here. And there it goes. And then you can see it right over here too. Could you guys hit that like button for me right now? That would be great. Thank you. All right, so after it drives back behind 1119 King Road at 3:43, it's on Ridge Road and Paradise and does a U-turn. And then you see the vehicle driving behind 1119 King Road at 3:45:07. All right, so at 3:45:07, the headlights are seen northbound on Walenta Drive behind 1119 King Road. And then this is where the DoorDash driver comes in at 3:46:09. And you could probably see that stuff on the timeline changed because I actually, I made another version. I can't find it, but I have had to recreate where I put back in the DoorDash movements, etc., into the timeline here. And I've still got more to add to it. So what we're going to do is, since we're already 20 minutes in, we'll just conclude part 2 right here after pass number 2. And then we'll continue on with the DoorDash driver, pass number 3, and we'll see where we're at, because there's a lot of information in there, a lot of movements, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things that Kohberger's doing to monitor the situation with the DoorDash driver. So that should be pretty interesting. This is just all going to be based on the timeline that I have right here. I still got more to add to it, I just noticed. So we'll be adding that and putting out part 3 tomorrow. It's probably going to be, 4 or 5 parts now that I look at it. And then maybe at the end I'll put together one full timeline video where you can just watch the whole thing. It might be over an hour long, I would think. But I want to say thank you all very much for watching. If you could hit that like button for me, share the video, that would be great. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there.